Okay, I think we're all Dutch here, but we have some streaming viewers, if I'm not mistaken. So, if you don't mind, besides taking photos and movies, we're also going to do this in English. Or I'll try. I'm a bit tired of the day, so sometimes I'm going to be searching for words. First off, we're here with the Dutch .NET Meetup group. We've been organizing a couple of meetups throughout the country, mostly centered around the center of Holland. This time we've gone a bit to the left, to Rotterdam, here at the lovely Vanillefabriek, hosted by our sponsor DotControl, where I also happen to work. So it's all a bit of in crowd here. I also help with the SDN. I also do the Dutch .NET Meetup, and I work at DotControl, and I'm doing a session. Yay, it's all about me today. Okay, so did I forget anything, Fanny? Do I have to mention anything else? No, he's not even paying attention. Do I have to? We're having tons of awesome meetups.
Yeah, it's not going to be, it's not live yet, but the next one I think it's July. But it's not announced yet, but it will be in Utrecht.
Okay, so far for all the household announcements. What I'm going to tell you is about the cognitive services and a little bit of Xamarin. That's what I normally do. So who here has at least heard of the cognitive services? Okay, cool. For the ones who didn't raise their hand, or the viewers at home, it's the basically the AI for not people with a PhD, because it's very easy to use, and we'll see all about that in this session. I'll be doing this through a couple of very non-useful apps, but I hope you will learn something tonight and you can make cool apps with yourself at home. If you have any questions, it's a small setting, so just raise your hand or shout out, whatever, and I'll try to answer it. So AI is a very big hype right now. Everything is AI, everything is artificial intelligence, everything is machine learning. It's everywhere, and from Gartner they have this hype cycle. I'm not sure if you can read it all the way in the back, but if you look at it, then all the way in the hype cycle there's the deep learning, machine learning, cognitive computing, so all the buzzwords are there. And also I have this home assistant, Google Home. Luckily not the Amazon one, because I don't know if you followed the news, but the Amazon Alexa has coincidentally recorded some stuff and sent it out in the world, and I don't know what happened. Amazon doesn't either. So I think the AI is taking over already. I don't know. But AI is not new. This guy already did some groundwork for it. This guy is Alan Turing, which has helped us defeat the Germans by cracking the Enigma code. He is this super awesome genius mathematician, and yeah, already in the 1950s he came up with the Turing test, or the imitation game. You might also know that from the movie, which was released a few years ago. Which basically comes down to this. You put a human on the one side of the wall, or whatever, and you let them talk to each other through a computer, chatting, because, well, if you could hear the other party, then you probably know if it's a computer or not, because you get a Microsoft Sam voice, haha, I'm a computer. So that's not going to work, so you're going to have to do it through a computer, and you start chatting with a person, and then halfway through the conversation they swap out, and you're talking to a computer. And then if the human on this side, on the left side, can't tell if it's a computer or a person, then it passed the Turing test, and then we all have to be worried. That's the very simple version. It has some more variables in there that you should take into account, but that's basically what the test is. This has been undefeated for very long, but I think back in 2014 there was the first system who actually came through this test. So yeah. And now recordings going all over the world, so I don't know. There's another group of people who already were very early with AI. They basically set the groundwork, or we use their definition today to define what AI is. It's a project from 1956 at the Dartmouth College in the UK. That's also how the project is named, after that college. And they basically defined the AI as a field. Oh, here it is, Dartmouth project. One of the most notable people is Marvin Minsky, who really did a lot of talks and publications after this to talk about AI. And they defined basically 5 things that an AI can be categorized in. So the first is knowledge, so it has to be able to get knowledge, so read papers, and also be able to connect them, or so it can get sources for a specific paper and yeah, define why that is. Perception, so it should be able to see and not just capture the image, but also see what is on the actual image. We'll see that in this talk as well. Language. So yeah, there's the Google Home again. You can just shout out, "Hey Google, do whatever," and it starts doing it. This has been around for a long time, but you have to be real specific about your comments. And the thing here is, it doesn't just work with specific keywords, but it gets the intent from whatever you're saying. So it, and also not just that, but it can also understand the language and maybe do some translations on it and that kind of stuff. It can get the intent from it, either written or spoken. It doesn't matter. Problem solving and planning, including navigation. So it should be able to solve a Rubik's Cube, and it should understand that what the problem is and how you could possibly solve that. And also reasoning, so it should be able to explain to you why it does something, why it went that way instead of that way, and connect the knowledge parts to each other. And whenever these 5 things are true, then we should start worrying, because then they become self-aware and we're all screwed. But the thing is, it's not just AI isn't new, we're even contributing to it. We've all probably seen this. Well, maybe not this specific one, but we've all learned Google how house numbers look, or cars, or curbs, or I don't know what they're trying to find out now. But you didn't think this was just for verification, right? Normally you get like house numbers, and they're asking you like, what's a house number? And there are 3 images of a house number, and from 2 they already know it's a house number. But the 3rd one, you're actually confirming them like, hey, this is a house number. So that with that data, they train their models to become better. And also, did you see it was, I don't know, a month ago, the Google I/O demo with Google Duplex? So that basically you can shout out, "Hey Google," to your already scary Home Assistant, and your Home Assistant will now make a call to your hairdresser to book an appointment for you. And that totally passed the test we just saw, the Turing test, because yeah, it even did, like the hairdresser was saying, okay, I should check your schedule if we have a slot for you, and the Google Assistant was like, or the Google Duplex like, okay, that's fine. It was really acting like a human, so that's becoming, yeah, a bit scary, but it's also at the same time really exciting that technology can do that. But so it's kind of a gray area. Also with the whole GDPR, because I just asked you if you can take pictures and that kind of stuff, this is also a very shady example of what's going on. There was this guy standing at the Dutch train station, and he was looking at this poster sign. There's lots of them, and he noticed there was this tiny black hole at the top, and he was tweeting like, "Hey, what's this?" So probably what was going on here, I don't know the details what became after this, but what was going on is probably that this camera was scanning faces and was probably recording what your reaction would be to this kind of advertisement. So are you happy? Are you not happy when you see this? Probably not happy, I hope. And with that, they probably don't identify you. That would become real dangerous. But they will identify whether you're a male or a female, or how old you are, or that kind of basic features of yourself. And also that's already some kind of gray area, because this is going on without you knowing. And there's more examples of this, that some screen crashed and you saw some console output flying by, and yeah, you could recognize yourself, like, hey, male 32, hey, that's me. And they can just do that now. But it can be even more intimidating. I don't know if you've seen the show Black Mirror, especially the episode Nosedive. If you don't know this, it's like mini-series, so it's like 4 seasons now, and it has this very skeptical view of the nearby to distant future. It's real good, I think, but this specific episode is becoming reality. In this episode, you have this mobile phone, and each interaction you have with a real person you can rate from 1 to 5 stars, or 0 stars, I don't know. So if I'm talking to Dibran here and I think he's a nice guy, then I give him 5 stars, and I don't know, Fani doesn't look so nice, and I give you 1 star. See, I don't know what you're doing. And based on that, you have a rating in the world. And based on that rating, you can get a mortgage, or you can get into the fancy restaurant, or you can't. If you have a bad rating, below 2 stars, I don't know, then you can get into the restaurant. And this is actually happening in China right now. I think they have like 167 million cameras already, and they're doubling this by 2020. And you will be rated, I have to check here, rated between 350 and 950. I don't know, should be based on some mathematical thing. But they identify you, they know who you are, they can see if you're going to your parents, if you're a blood donor, yes or no. And if you're not, then it's going to be reduced from your score. And they're going to implement actual social restrictions based on that score. You can't get a cab, you can't get in the nice restaurant. They're actually doing this. That is scary. I was like, whoa, okay, that's scary. So if AI isn't new, and so what's all the fuss about then? And especially, I'm a mobile developer, so why should I care in the first place? Well, if you think about it, the things we just saw, where you can use AI, it needs input. It needs input either spoken or written or with an image. And that's all sensors that you have on your mobile device. So you have a camera, so you can take it out, you can take a picture, you can send it into the cloud, and you get your data back. Also, the same thing, it has a microphone, so you can give it speech, and it will give you feedback based on that. The whole AI thing, it's pretty complicated. I don't understand the most of it. So Microsoft thought there's probably a lot of developers who don't get what we are trying to do here. So they introduced this set of cognitive services, as they call it, which is basically just a set of REST APIs. So you can just send HTTP requests to it, and you can still leverage the power of AI. If you see, this is the categories they have divided them in. And they show a lot of similarity with the 5 pillars I've just shown, where the AI is based on. So you have vision, speech, language, knowledge, and, well, search. All the Bing magic is happening here as well. And if you know a little bit about AI, then you know everything is about models. So you compose models with data, and based on that, they can tell you if something is one thing or the other. And with the cognitive services, you at the highest level, it's an Azure service, so you have this highest level, which is the easiest, and then you can drill down into the more advanced services if you want to. But the highest level, this cognitive services has shared models. So also probably in the fine print somewhere, all the data that you're sending up there will be used to train their models. Be aware of that. But because of this, you can also leverage the power of all other people that are sending data in here. If you go by them really quickly, all the different categories, vision, I think it's my favorite. Computer vision, so you send an image there and it will tell you what's on it. I see a plane, I see a car, I see someone sitting at the beach, it will tell you that. Also a very strong feature, I think, is content moderation. We'll see a little bit of that as well. I also read this article in preparation of this talk about content moderators at Facebook. They see the most horrible things, so we don't have to see them. And well, from the article, Facebook didn't really look good because they were like, oh, you're going to do it anyway, and very bad conditions to work in. But anyway, if we can take that away so that no one has to see it, but a computer can determine like, hey, this might not be suitable, we can do it through this service. Custom vision service is basically computer vision, but you can use your own models. So you can train your own models in the custom vision service and feed it with your own images and base a model on that. We will see that in a little bit. The face API is nice. With this, you can actually identify the pictures that we take tonight. And you can also detect the emotion API is still here on preview. The slide is a bit old because the emotion API is going up into the face API now. With the emotion API, you could take a picture of someone and you could determine whether they're smiling, happy, or sad, or whatever, which is basically, or typically, a feature of a face. So yeah, they just thought like, hey, let's put those two together and you could get the data in one go. Then you have the speech, and of course translation then comes into play. I think at Microsoft they're doing a really good job. If you see the real Microsoft speakers, they have this text-to-speech subtitles now, most of the time running with their presentations, which is probably based off this. So you just talk to it and it will near real time translate everything you say. Of course, speech API, so you can also do the Microsoft SAM thing, like type into it and it will speak out to you. Also custom, so with your own models, and speaker recognition, which is now used in the home assistants. So if I give it a command, it will know it's me, and whenever my girlfriend gives it a command, it will not listen. Language. So language understanding is probably also something you might know if you're familiar with the bot framework that is also by Microsoft, which extract the intent from whatever you're telling it. So you can just type anything in there. It doesn't have to be some kind of specific format. You can just type in there and it will tell you like, hey, you're trying to order a pizza. We'll see that in this demo as well. Spell check. Web language model, I don't know. Text analytics, so get the sentiment, so is someone happy or sad, which might be useful in case of, I don't know, Amazon.com, who want to get a signal whenever a customer leaves a bad review, so you can act on it. Again, translator, etc., etc. Knowledge, I haven't used that very much. One fun thing is the Q&H maker, so you can feed it with a whole lot of text and it will automatically extract any questions and automatically the answer to those questions for you, so you never have to make another Q&H yourself again. And of course the whole search thing, so you can search for certain images, it will understand whatever you're trying to look for in an image, and because of the vision, it will know what is on a specific image, so even if it's not tagged by any users manually, it will understand what you're trying to search for. Which also works for videos and news and that kind of stuff. So why use cognitive services? Well, there's probably similar services from Amazon and Google as well. I don't know if they're this easy to use, but these are very easy to use because basically all you need to do is get an API key from the Azure portal. And yeah, it's just REST API. So if you know how to make a HTTP call, you can do this. And you can make an HTTP call from most of the platforms, so this works across all platforms, and you can just use it. Even big players, GitHub, which is now Microsoft, of course, Stack Overflow, all the big players are using this as well. I think Stack Overflow built some kind of bot, which is also a Q&H thing, and they made a plugin for Visual Studio to get the intent from your question and try to link it up with relevant answers that were already on there, which shapes the models that the cognitive services are using it. So the more people who are using it, the better. It just looks like this. This is an old code as well because the code name for all of this was Project Oxford, all the way on the top. There are still some Project Oxford namespaces going around in the NuGet packages. They're in the process of renaming them still. but it will be, I don't know, Microsoft services now or something, Microsoft Cognitive Services, something like that. And all you need to do is just capture the result in its object, and you can feed it with whatever features you want to get back. So here we're going to send a image, and we just get to as a return the tags and the description. There's a whole lot of other information that you can get back as well. But if you're making an app that just wants to tell the user, like, hey, these tags are associated in the description, you're not interested in the rest, you can just get this data out of there. You send the image that way. Vision client, of course, this is the NuGet package. You can also use your own HTTP client if you want to. You post it to the endpoint at the bottom, and you get back some kind of JSON object that we all know and love. And you can extract your data from here. This sample doesn't work, so don't worry. This is just sample data, because the Terminator GDPR can't. Okay, so this is going to be not so good, because I have this movie here, but we have no sound. Well, if you're real quiet, we can hear it. So this is from Silicon Valley. I don't know if anyone knows that show, which is also pretty nice. Yeah, you know it, good. Which is basically a group of friends trying to make it in Silicon Valley. And here he has created an app based on AI, based on everything that's awesome. And it recognizes a hot dog. Cool. Okay, so everything is like really excited, like, hey, this is cool. We're going to be millionaires. They're buying boats in their minds, and they're going bananas. And hurry up, guys! I'm trying to fill the time here. So to prove that the app really works, they're doing like, hey, now do the pizza. So he's going to do an image of the pizza, hoping, of course, that they get back the result that it's a pizza, but it's not. It's not a hot dog. So yeah, there's a bit of disappointment there. Don't need a sentiment analysis for that. But that's basically the problem. That's the state of AI right now. I mean, everyone is doing funny about they're going to take over the world, etc. And we probably have to worry about that somewhere in the future. But what is going on now is that we build these models, and it will only be as smart as the data that we feed it. So if we only feed it hot dogs, it can recognize hot dogs, but it can't recognize something else magically. It will just know it's not a hot dog. Okay, so time for some code. Let's see how this all works. I'll try to zoom in here and there, like here. So this is the Azure portal, where all the magic happens. And yeah, it's just as easy as creating a new service, create a resource, and you can automatically see here, there is this category for AI and machine learning with lots of interesting stuff. Web app bot, so the bot is not really an AI in itself, but it's tightly coupled to it. Computer vision, face, so there we have it. There's already the two I mentioned, text analysis, language understanding. Diebran here told me that at Build there was a couple of new services announced. I didn't had the chance to put them in here yet. So there might have been a few things renamed or juggled around, but the basics are still here. Of course, I already created this because I don't do live coding. It's always dangerous. And I have something with the vision here. And this is basically the screen that you get whenever you created a service. Congratulations, your keys are ready. Grab your keys, make an API call. That's it. The keys are here. Don't look at them, they're very secret. So you just pick one of both, doesn't really matter. And no, don't take pictures of my keys, come on. And wait, where was the quick start? It was here. And then you can go over here to the reference if you want to, and you get this Swagger document, which is the modern WSDL. And you could even, if you want to, do the calls from right here. So you can just see the description here. We can send request parameters. So the visual features, you can see them here. We want to get back the categories, the text, the description. Well, the faces, because this is the, is this a face API? I thought I did the vision. It can also detect faces in vision. Cool. And we also have the adult flag here. So maybe you don't want to find adult content. Maybe you do. I don't know. what you're doing. And you can also detect celebrities and landmarks. So that's also a fun thing you can do. And there's some switch which tells you can get the results back in, well, either English or Chinese. So the support for other languages is very limited. But yeah, if you're into Chinese, you can do that. And then you just have to specify your key with the header. Content type will probably be JSON, because JSON all the way. And well, then you get a result back. So let's just do that. And what I try to do is create the same hot dog demo that we just saw. So what we need for that is, of course, a hot dog. And everything is on Wikipedia. So I just got this. No copyright, hopefully. And if we take this link, we can just post it to our service here. And this is just with the right region, the API that you want to call with the visual features, tags and description. And I just have this body here, which already has this URL right here. What you could also do is do a post with the stream, so you can supply the actual image from right here. So it doesn't have to be hosted. It can be a picture on your phone. But you can also do it like this and feed it with the URL of an online hosted image. And whenever I send that in something like Postman, you will get back a JSON object, which has the tags as I requested. And you'll see a hot and a dog and a bun and a hot dog. So there's a few duplicate kind of things in there. And it also has a confidence. You will often see some kind of score in all of these results telling you how confident the system is that, yeah, it is what it says it is. So it's very confident that it's hot. And it's very confident that it's dog, and the rest, well, not so much. Here you have the description, the tags, you get them here as well. And you have this caption like, hey, a hot dog on a bun. Pretty confident. There's also some made-up data that you get back with height, format, that kind of stuff. Now, to make it a little bit more interesting, I've put this into a Azure function. Anyone is into Azure functions yet? No? Cool. So Azure Functions is the serverless buzzword. You see, I'm trying to get them all in here. Mobile, AI, serverless, almost bingo. So, and what you can do is just with serverless, you don't have to worry about IIS hosting the whole thing. You can just write this code and publish it in the cloud, and it will run. And the way you can do it is a couple of ways. This has a HTTP trigger. So it's basically just your web API with one endpoint in this case, which you can call upon. And it basically does the same thing that we've just seen. It gets my key, it gets the URI, it tells me I just want the tags back. And we can do a post or a get, again, to support supplying it with a URL and with the binary data. And it will just get the response for us. And there was the fun thing that came up that you just saw it as well. With the tags, because sometimes we got just hot and dog, or sometimes we got hot dog together. So what I did is just check them apart from each other. So I check for hot, I check for dog, and if they're both true, then it's a hot dog. And I give that back. So whenever I call this, I should have it prepared here. You can see the function is hosted already, and I can just supply it with the same URL here. But now my response will be simplified, and I will just get back, it's a hot dog. Okay, so but I didn't want to stop there because I'm a Xamarin guy, I'm a mobile guy, we have all these awesome sensors. So I wanted to take it a step further. And here we have Visual Studio for Mac. I'm not sure if you all know that. We have Visual Studio on a Mac these days. Yes, we're one of you now. And it's even more awesome than your Visual Studio, because we can zoom, but we can also zoom here. Oh my God, you can't do this on Windows.
Zoom tool.
Not the zoom tool. Okay, so this is a Xamarin Forms project. Not sure if you've seen it as well. This is the shared project, and then you have basically just two Bootstrap projects here, one for iOS, one for Android. If we were to have more platforms, then they would be here as well. But you want all the magic going to happen here in the shared project. And you can see it's pretty easy to do because I've just installed one plugin, which helps me with taking pictures and that kind of stuff, because that's hard too. I don't want to do that. And then just what I'm going to do is send an HTTP request to my Azure function. I could have also sent it directly to the cognitive services, but I've chosen to do it like this. And I will just read the result in a very ugly way. I don't know why I did this, to determine whether or not it's a hot dog. Okay, so let me see if I can get my phone screen up here. It works, awesome. And if we were to run this application, which is here, and it has an awesome design, I can tell you. Here it is. And so what I thought, I was like, okay, we can do a fun thing. I could take out a real hot dog right now and make a picture of that to see if it works or not on a real hot dog. But, well, yeah, that would be not so good to the poor animal that the hot dog was made out of, because we would just throw it in the trash, and that wouldn't be nice. So then I went on Marktplaats, we all know it, and we love it, because they have everything, including this squishy hot dog. So yeah, this squishy hot dog is now my new best friend. Oh, show it again, I'm sorry. For the people at home, my squishy hot dog. It's pretty amazing, and it feels really funny. But I use this now, and I've learned through doing this session a couple of times that it doesn't work with a lot of noise in the background for some reason. So here we go. Use photo, hot dog. There's no loading indicator because I didn't implement it. And, come on. Today, please. Oh, it's a hot dog, yes. Whew. Took some time, but it's a hot dog. To prove to you that it's not live coded, here's the picture I promised to make of you. And if it's going to say it's a hot dog, then I'm going to walk out and go home. It's taking really long here, don't know why. It's not a hot dog. Phew, okay. So we got this working. With just implementing, yeah, that would have been real awkward. With just implementing an HTTP client. So that's pretty easy. Actually, let's just stay in here. I also have this nice application which works with the Face API. And you can just check the Face API here. So let's do it on myself first, which is also makes for good pictures. And you get back this JSON result with a Face ID. So it does identify the face for, well, at least in some kind of GUID. But it tells you a lot of data about it. The face rectangle, so it also shows you where the face is in the picture. So apparently it's like 362 pixels from the top, that kind of stuff. But it also gives you a lot of attributes. So am I smiling? Nope, not really. And normally I would expect to have some more emotions here, but it doesn't do that now. Okay, so head pose, it also tells you how my head is standing. Gender, male, age 35, not so much. Facial hair, well, not so much either. No glasses, etc., etc. So there's a lot of stuff in here you can use. The fun one is also makeup. I am using eye makeup. That's awesome. Cool. That's some way to get busted here on stage. Okay. Wow. 0.02 bold. Well, I can live with that. Invisible hair, invisible. I don't know what invisible hair is, but I don't have it. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and it also sees another face, which is probably my own. This is faceception. It sees the other face in the background. But that's the awesome thing here. You can, if I take a picture of you guys again, it should identify a couple of more faces. And you can see this data being repeated. I think you can do like 64 faces in one image or something. So here you go. There's face 1, male 31. Here we go. Smile. Someone is smiling. Oh yeah. Which is the male 45. And well, there's a couple of others here. So you can do a couple of fun things with this, and it recognizes really a lot. I don't know if you guys went to the tech days. Was it this year? No, last year, in October. They had a session about this as well, and they had put a camera near the entrance. And as you walk by, there was this tiny sign that if you walk past here, you allow us to use your image and that kind of stuff. And everyone did it. I didn't even notice the sign or the camera. And they extracted all these kind of data from it and put it in a Power BI dashboard. So you could see how many people were coming in, how many males were coming in, how many females. And well, there was some pretty fun results in there. There was some kids, which is probably a false positive. But the fun thing is, there was also, you saw the no glasses result, but there was also one guy who wore swimming goggles. So, well, first of all, you could ask yourself why something is coming in with swimming goggles, but also why does cognitive services recognize that? But okay, but that's kind of the case. You see with these kind of images, right from the front, with good images, good lighting, then it will work. But if it's kind of fuzzy or dark or not the right conditions, then the results can be a bit funky. And also this, do I have the code for this? I think I do. But it's not really, oh wait, I have another thing I didn't show you, which was the Emotion API as a loose service here. And we can also detect whether or not I'm happy, I hope. So many faces. Happiness, almost 100%, wow. And you can also do, I think, whoops, thank you. I'm doing this for myself, that's cool. And no one told me. I'm going to show you what emotion that gives me. Okay, so again, not use this. And you're not telling me, so that makes me sad. Don't spoil it. Sadness. So yeah, it can just take out the emotion, and which would normally be part of this result, but I'm probably using the legacy service here. Another fun thing you can do with these kind of things, and then I have to switch to Android because I was bold enough to install the new iOS 12, which ruined my demo for some reason, I don't know why. But that doesn't matter, Android to the rescue. Because it's Xamarin Forms, so it's all cross-platform. And here I have, imagine this code is written by Jim Bennett, which is a very famous cloud developer, Azure cloud developer, I don't know how they call themselves nowadays, but he is also a very good Xamarin developer, as he started out with. And he created this code, but it's very fun to show how to use your own models. And imagine this is a screen for our imaginary social platform, and we want to ban well, weird content from it. So in here we can type some content, and we can say you are a jerk, and it shouldn't like that. Come on, how do I lose the keyboard here without opening the... Oh, this is awkward. Come on. I'm not used to Android. Come on, how does this work? Okay, do the image then as well. And you can post it, and it will hopefully say no naughty words, or it has stopped altogether. This is going to be a great demo. Okay, let's just skip over to the image then. I hope it works. But another thing we can do is we want to ban duck faces, because no one likes duck faces, right? So I can't do that. So with these images, you can train your own models into knowing whether something is a duck face or not. Yeah, oh, it does. So hopefully it will recognize this as a duck face and not crash again. Your image has been posted. Okay, this is going to turn out to be a really bad example. Let's do it from the other side. Maybe that helps. Sorry, this is the screen projecting tool showing me ads because I'm too cheap to buy it. And here it says the duck face is not allowed. Okay, so my model needs a little bit of training. As you saw, the other one was just posting it, so a not duck face works as well. And this is based on the custom vision service. So they have this portal for this, and you can create your own project. Let me sit down for a little bit. And what you basically have to do then is just feed it with images of duck faces. So as you can see, I had a really fun afternoon taking selfies with duck faces and not duck faces. Unfortunately, no one else was around, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. But yeah, this is like 24 images, and that's enough to train a model into recognizing a duck face or not a duck face in very basic. I mean, it could use some training, but yeah, this is very powerful stuff. It just doesn't need very much to be able to predict this very good. So here you have the performance tab, which tells you how it's doing. So here we have the precision, which tells you like, hey, all the times I predict if it's a duck face or not duck face, how much of the time am I right? The recall also stands for something important, but I always keep forgetting what it is. And you can create different iterations. So here I took 5 iterations, and you can inspect for each iteration how it's doing. So you keep feeding it images, and you can here push the train button, and it will create a model for you there. And based on each of those models, you can see how the precision and how the recall is. And you can test with that, and you can play around with this little slider here to make it all a bit more perfect. And each iteration has its own URL, so you can also start creating your new iteration and keep the people that are already using your app or whatever, keep it on the old prediction URL to let them work with those results, and test with your own iteration to make it more perfect. Here you can see also the prediction, so all the images that are going in. This is my profile picture from DotControl, and it doesn't contain a duck face. Phew. But here you can see what his prediction was, and you can also add your own tag, so you could train the model even further. So this is not a duck face, I'm going to say, and should be able to say save, and it will disappear here and go into my training images here, so it will become part of my model, and by adding it here, my model will become more solid. The other thing about the text, I don't know why it works, which is also pretty fun. I'll quickly show you. I'm thinking, I'm doing okay on time. Because the language thing has a very nice challenge. The code where it's going on is here. It's also just a NuGet, just another REST endpoint, so nothing fancy there. But the first thing you need to do is detect the language from your text. Why? Because there was this very fun little town in the UK, which is called Scunthorpe. So when the first versions of this came out, I think it was Amazon or something, they tried to ban things from their reviews. And they were just scanning like, okay, does string contain bad word? So as you can see here, this might not be so nice. So people from Scunthorpe were then banned from whatever online reviews they were trying to put in. And from then it should be known as the Scunthorpe problem. So yeah, you can imagine there's some kind of variations to this that make it hard to determine if there is a bad word in the context, yes or no. So that's part of the reason to make it more, oops, didn't want to go there. To make it more precise, you have to detect the language first. Another good example, if you're speaking Dutch, is you're a dick, but yeah, dick is a regular name in Dutch, so if you're just saying ik heet Dick, then it should go through. So that's why you want to detect the language first. and then screen the text. And I think it's either the detection of the language or the screening, but you will also get like the normalized string back and that kind of stuff. So also if you're trying to fool it by replacing the O's with zeros, it will detect that and it will first normalize the string to make it more readable, also take out any spelling mistakes, and detect the funny words from there. So there's a lot of logic in here as well, and I think this also has a tag that tells you like, hey, is the human is there a human intervention recommended, yes or no? So you could decide based on that if you want to put it on some kind of special queue to review it yourself first, or just put it out there. Okay. So what's other possible scenarios? I mean, these aren't very useful, but what are the more useful scenarios you could come up with? Well, emotion detection at retail displays, we've already seen those. It could be good if you're a store owner and you want to know how people respond to certain things. Facial identification of, well, missing children, because children is always even more sad than losing another person. But yeah, finding missing persons could be nice if you put cameras on a border or some kind of stuff. Then you could detect people that are missing. Sentiment analysis for reviews, that kind of stuff. Facial detection, language understanding for bots. You see that going on a lot now. It's also a trend. But the last one is actually pretty interesting. Object recognition to enable a blind person to read a menu. They've created at Microsoft a whole concept about this, which is called Bringing It All Together, the Seeing AI app. I think a simplified version is available on iOS. I'm not sure on the Android version. But this brings together a whole lot of these services, which enable an actual blind person to see, quoted. So if you look at this, the glasses he has on his face, you might notice the tiny camera in front of it, and because of that, it is able to stream video or take images and tell him like, hey, you're in Paris and you're looking at the Eiffel Tower. It's really beautiful. Or something like that. But it goes even further than that, because if you're in a restaurant and you're reading the menu, it can read the menu. But if you're in a foreign country reading the menu, it can not only read the menu, but it can also translate the menu for you. Because I think it's somewhere in the nearest ears there are also speakers, and there's probably also a microphone in there, so it can give voice commands. So this is really powerful stuff, and it can really help in actual scenarios where, people don't want to recognize hot dogs or not. We've seen the CAPTCHAs from Google, but yeah, Microsoft isn't in the CAPTCHA business as far as I know. So they needed some other fun things to train their models with initially. At least that's why I think they put these projects up. And one is the caption bot, so you just upload an image and it will tell you like, hey, it's Bill Gates looking sexy at you. Or you can do the celeb like me, which is also a big hit on Facebook. You upload an image and it will tell you you look like, I don't know, Anthony Hopkins. Or Project Murphy, which is also very fun and combines also a few of these things. Let's just quickly take a look at that. It's fun to spend your boring office afternoon. Hope my boss is not watching. So here's Project Murphy, which also combines the bot framework. And so you can communicate through it with Skype, Messenger, whatever you want to do. This already exists for a few years, and I think it always has said Kik and Slack coming soon. So I wouldn't bet on it that they're still coming. But if we go over to Messenger, and spoiler alert. So you can ask these kind of things like, hey, what if, let's just repeat this one. What if Obama was a basketball player? Hope he comes up with some kind of different. So you can ask it a question and it will extract the entities from it. So the entities would be Obama and basketball player. So it knows we're looking for these kinds of things. And it will then also leverage the Vision API to actually find an image of Obama and a basketball player, find the face on that image, find the face on the other image, and then being able to swap them together. So there's a whole lot of services combined here. And the really sad thing is that I can't get this to full screen. Wow, this is really a bad. What?
Right click.
Oh no, trying a reload. Nope. Okay, try this at home. It's very fun. Here's another, the previous example from when I did this. It didn't really do the face swap, but for some reason it put him here on his shirt. I don't know why that happened, but yeah, you can see this is just a fun example, but it shows you really the power of what's going on here. Also here I had the same problem with the fun part getting cut off, but yeah. Another fun example, which I came across when this is from a few months ago, I think, is the Emojifier. So it really uses the emotion API or the face API you could post it to I think the handle is also at Emojifier, and you could tweet a picture at it, and it will replace it with an emoji of the emotion that it recognizes from the image and replaces it on your actual face. So yeah, it's fun to do once, but there's this whole blog on this link at the bottom, which explains how we did it and what these challenges were and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty awesome. You can get started today for free. It's all on Microsoft.com/cognitive. There is a free tier for all the services that you've seen, which limits you in some ways, but I think just to play around, you're not going to hit those limits. And after that, there's a paid tier, of course, which gives you some better speed and more requests per second and that kind of stuff. So go check it out. It's pretty awesome, and I hope you come up with some pretty apps for it. My name is Gerald Sluis. I work here at DotControl, as you might have gotten from my remarks. And yeah, this is all I had to tell you about the cognitive services for today. The fun fact is that we should have actual hot dogs for food. I thought that would be a nice touch. So yeah, I should have made the app visible publicly for you, so you could try it out on the actual hot dog. Yeah, that would have been a good idea. There's some contact information right there, but I'll be around for the rest of the evening. So enjoy your hot dog, and thank you.